welcome back to the Property Power Couple with Colton and Haley, where we provide comfort and confidence for your real estate experience.
Yeah.
Hey.
Absolutely. Hey,
How
what's
are
up,
you?
babe?
It's good to see you again. So today we kind of want to talk more about this idea of practice.
Yeah.
And specifically, in thinking through all the things that we've done in our lives, and I think certainly with Kinley, our daughter, growing up in soccer now, we have practice regularly.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things that was impressed on both of us during that last academy was just that, how often are we really practicing
Right.
what we're doing?
Right.
We have phone calls. We do the normal course of business day in and day out. And you're getting better every time you do it.
Yeah.
But, really this idea of practice has been kind of shoved in our face recently. And I think
well, I think, and a lot of it is back to the basics.
Right.
We get so tired of hearing that because, I know I'm trying to make my calls. I'm trying to do all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But the switching of the idea to practice, yeah, I don't think I practiced my listing presentation recently.
Right.
Well, business was busier. We were going on more appointments. They might not have been as high of a conversion rate, but you had more appointments, so you had more real-time practice.
Yeah, you just feel like
But that's not practice. That's
you're ready to go all the
that's
time.
doing. So when was the last time that you really practiced what we're doing? When was the last time you practiced a listing presentation? When was the last time you practiced a buyer presentation? So,
or even role played some of those phone calls that you have.
when was the last time you practiced answering those hard questions?
Yeah.
When was the last time you played some of that out? So brokerage level, for Next Home on Main, we have implemented additional trainings into a weekly setting.
Yeah.
So now we're having so we have our sales meetings that are, twice a month, and then we have our monthly big training. That's going to be a really big topic. But then to continue to meet everyone where they're at, because we talk about that a lot, that we wanted to be able to do a role play weekly. We're doing a book club, so it's book club training, role play, and our new homies on Fridays.
Yeah.
So with that, we are doing that role play every week. And we're recording it so we can go back to it, so you can hear yourself talk, so you can hear how someone else answered it, so you can be practicing. And it really is just so you log on and you're practicing, and then you have other people watching you, which is kind of intimidating, but then you get something from them, or that's a little bit of pressure. Well, it's going to be pressure when you're sitting in front of two, intense sellers that have different questions and they're coming at you and it's intense, or two buyers that can't agree on how many bedrooms they need or how many bathrooms they need or something, it can be intense. So that practicing with people you're comfortable with, practicing with your broker, practicing with your fellow agents, practicing in general, to really sharpen that skill set. We are professionals. I am not an NFL player or anything like that, but I'm a professional real estate professional, right? I'm a realtor.
Well, and even as they were talking that through that day, and we're sort of being challenged with, how do you practice, and are you doing it? How often? I remembered, it just kind of clicked for me that when I was in grad school, we would go through all these therapy classes where we're learning different treatments and the history and the data and how we got there. And then we would go into a therapy room, and we would sit down across the table from another student, one of the people in my class, and then we would role play day in, day out these sessions. And you're getting used to, they're going here. Let me apply a skill here. Let me go here. Okay. And now that we've started doing that on the really intentionally doing that practice, I can see a difference in how easy some of those phone calls really are.
Right.
It's sort of a lot of times for the phone calls, it can feel like, that anticipation before a doctor's visit. Yeah. But it's so scary, and you're like, but what are they
What are they going to say?
Oh my God. It's like, no, just make the call. And that practice element is what helps reduce that barrier to actually making a call.
And so that's kind of the obvious practice, right? Obviously, practice being on the phone, practice answering those questions. You can practice with someone else, and they might have a couple little tweaks in their verbiage that you really like that you can start using and whatnot.
Yeah.
But the idea also of being prepared and practicing.
Right.
So instead of me who, a lot of people have the ability to show up and make it happen. I can wing it and we can get it done, and it's going to be pretty good.
Yeah.
But it's so much anxiety around it, right? It's so stressful. I don't know what I'm going to say. I don't know what I'm going to do. And oh my goodness, that class is in an hour. Am I ready to teach it?
Right.
Oh my goodness, that appointment is an hour. Did I print everything I was supposed to have?
Right.
Well, if I was practicing, if I was preparing, then I would have 5 listing presentations ready all the time, 5 buyer presentations. I just have to plug in the information that's relevant. Right. Well, but the concept of practicing before I teach, practicing before I get on a call with our agents, practicing before we get here.
Yeah.
We practiced in the car how we wanted some certain stuff to sound.
Right.
And it's like, oh, well, no, just go do it.
Yeah.
Right. But if I'm just intentionally preparing for 10 minutes, just getting my mind right, making sure I like the way that the phrase is going to sound, or making sure if we're really working on this specific thing, am I plugging it back in throughout the training?
Right.
Are we talking about it? Practice is really important, and that preparation is part of your practice.
Well, and I think the application to business and our businesses, that's what has helped sort of shift that paradigm.
Yeah.
Is looking at it and going, you could be at the dance competition or me on the football field going, I know that I worked way harder than that guy over there.
Right.
And I'm about to bash his head. This is about to happen. And when it gets into this world, it's like you've got to apply that same thing, but shifting it so that I know that there is nobody that is more prepared than me for what I'm about to do.
Right.
And when you can walk into a room, when you can walk into that situation feeling that way and knowing this to be true, that you've done it, you've done the work, now we're out here to showcase it.
Yeah.
It's such a better way to function.
Oh, absolutely. And taking those 10 minutes, everyone, different processes or whatever, but like the think, plan, prepare.
Yeah.
It doesn't take that long to go over the market stats in your area right now. So when you hop on the phone and someone says, how's it going? How's the market? How's this? When you're calling, whether it's a lead or a sphere or whatever it is, you have an answer. So you just run through that answer real fast.
Yeah.
Bam, bam, bam. We're going to get on a call with new agents. Well, what is something that 3 of them asked me this last week that I can just be ready to answer? I'm not sitting down, not having to do all this research and because we're in it every day. Yeah. We're just practicing and preparing and planning so that when the question comes up, we have an answer.
Yeah. And if we don't,
we'll get it.
Figure it out.
Yeah, we'll get it, right? I mean, you're going to still have to wing it. You're still in sales. It's still real life. Like things are going to happen. But that way, it doesn't have to be as scary. It's not so overwhelming to think, oh my God, what are they going to say?
Yeah.
Now the more you do it, the more you do it. But even if you go on a listening presentation every single day, you still need to practice what you're doing so that way you upside down and backwards, right? Kind of old school. You can do all that.
Yeah.
I think it's cool that we were with a relative the other day doing a listening presentation.
I was about to try to get you there, so I'm glad you went there.
And so being prepared, practicing, we have a binder.
Yeah.
And it's a lot, but I'm not going to be the one that didn't leave something behind. So we have our binder, we have all of our sections, and we went over the top. This particular relative wanted to know about listing versus property management. So now we had 2 presentations that we had to get ready for in one meeting. So in, 60 to 90 minutes, they wanted to hear literally everything that we provide.
Right.
And how much money they can make in each direction and which one made the most sense. And we're trusting you. We want to put confidence in you to tell us what to do.
Right.
Right. It was a lot.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
Well, and it's heavy too, because it's not just there are real life consequences for the information that we're giving people.
Yeah.
And they're also family. And it's not that we don't care more or less either way, but it's family.
But because it's family, we practiced maybe even harder.
Yeah.
We didn't go in there just expecting them just to say yes. Whenever you tell us to do, we'll just do it. We gave that entire presentation. Well,
and speak to why that's so important. Not the obvious familial connection, but that idea that our whole business, for the most part, is referral based.
Yeah, I've always been very referral based, and I love that. And it started the whole time, which is how we got you involved, because we were lucky that the referrals were coming in.
Yeah.
And
because you were taking care of them
right
in that way.
Because I was never going to be the agent that walked in with a piece of paper, maybe left it behind, or, technology is really important and we can use technology, and my iPad's with me everywhere, right? We keep going back to that accountability, but, yes, I have it there, but leaving behind what is obvious that I put the time in to make sure that you do feel comfortable. You do have the confidence in us. You can see it when you look down at that binder.
Yeah.
And you can see it. It's right there. It's in front of you. Wow, she's prepared.
Yeah.
Wow, he worked hard on this. They are taking my most valuable asset very seriously. And that think, plan, prepare practice came into play. I knew that in this scenario, it was, my sister and her husband. Okay. And we don't normally, eat dinner with our clients, don't normally do that kind of stuff. They don't see us at our worst. They don't see us at our best.
Listing presentation.
And we're not, we joke. She's like, hey, I ordered fajitas. Can y'all pick them up on the way? Yeah, totally.
Sure.
Right. That's normal. But that's normal for siblings. That's not normal for a listing presentation. And so I had to make sure, and I remember saying, I want you to feel comfortable in this. So I'm going to go through all of this.
Well, I think,
stop eating, focus and listen to,
Well, and I think what you're saying is that you're walking into a relaxed setting where we've been over there a bunch of times.
Oh, yeah.
And we're all yucking it up, having a good time. And we're also there for a very important, very serious reason.
Yeah.
And we approach even the most comfortable of situations with a level of preparation,
right,
and a level of data, and a level of process that says, I don't care if you're my sister or a total stranger, we're going to take care of you.
Right.
And we're going to make sure that we provide a certain level of quality service that holds up to the standard of who we are and what we're about.
Absolutely. And knowing their personalities, right? Knowing the type of people that they are.
That one's huge. Yeah.
And now, luckily, we knew that more than we normally do.
Yeah.
Right. Sometimes you just kind of tell on the phone, depending on which one called you and how they were asking questions, and you can kind of be ready. Right. Just like, are they like a high D? Are they an I? Are they one,
An S or a C?
Right.
Yeah.
But knowing them, so I knew that he was going to have all these questions. I wanted the questions to already be answered.
Right.
And I knew he wanted to see black and white. Is this actually going to make me money in the long run if we decide to go with property management instead of just capitalizing on the equity now? It's hard to say no to that massive equity number because he made a great decision
Discipline.
We helped him a couple years ago, and now they're ready to go on to that next phase. And, to not say yes to that pile of money that's like literally staring at you from the pages that we've printed to, if we will do property management, this is a long-term thing. You
can see the long-term benefit.
This is for your future, your family, all of that. And so it was really cool. We knew those were the problems. We already knew that, which is lucky. But that doesn't mean we just went in there with like a, hey,
here's a quick, quick number crunch. Yeah.
I mean, and it was really cool because a couple of days later, Caitlin said, man, you knew that whole thing. You're nervous about not practicing or you feel unprepared. Oh my goodness, you knew that whole thing and you presented it and you weren't even looking at it. You just did it.
Right.
And obviously that's her and it's my sister, but that means so much to hear that it's visible, that we took the time to make sure we knew what was there. Well,
and I love that you said that, because what it really says to me is the importance of the feedback.
Yeah.
And you can't ever necessarily from a client back to you really get the most accurate feedback. I think she was being genuine. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is that doing that practice, doing those role plays, giving that presentation time, and being, like you said, reading it upside down and backwards, to be able to have somebody across from you who's really there to pick you apart and say, you should have gone left or you went right, is going to be so helpful because it's genuine. They want you to be successful. We, as the brokerage, want our agents to be successful, which is why we're doing the role plays, which is why we're on those calls going, try it this way.
Yeah.
Like, that was great, but pivot and go this way instead of that way. And I think it's invaluable.
Yeah, it's been really cool. It's been cool to watch the role play scenarios, really helping them build up that confidence in themselves, and then being able for us to say, look, we put it into play. We do the practice, we're practicing with you, and then we're putting it into play as well. Yeah. And really seeing all of that kind of come together. It's been really fun. Yeah. And if you didn't get it, the point was to practice.
Yeah. Practice.
But we're still practicing, even though we're at this level. People don't get to the top and then just stop practicing.
Right.
They practice harder so that they're better. And I just think it's really important that we all keep doing that.
Absolutely. So we only have a few more minutes left, but I wanted to touch on a couple of things. Actually, it looks like we are out of time.
No, you're good.
Oh shit.
Sorry, guys. I'm trying to break the fourth wall here, but I'll just let you know I forgot to give you 15. But you're good.
Okay, cool.
You're good, Colton.
Okay.
So the idea of practice, and then this sort of athletic analogy that we're using, the idea of a coach and helping guide you through that, those different seasons and the things that change. I know that we've had a bunch. We've been really blessed with some really great mentors. Michael coming in and helping kind of guide us in some ways. And so I'm just curious what your thoughts are on having a coach and bringing somebody alongside you to sort of guide you
and
through
I've
some of that.
I've had a coach most of the time, whether it be a mentor or just those relationships. It's not always been labeled as a coach,
Right.
But having that person, and I love that now we're able to give that back to our agents and back to our clients, and be able to be that person for them. But we've always had somebody that we've been leaning on.
Yeah.
Whether they were labeled a coach or it was more of a mentor or an accountability group or a mastermind group, somebody that you're talking to all the time, that you're bouncing ideas off of, that they're also saying, okay, well, you said that you wanted to have this many deals. You only did this many. So what are you not doing? Oh, were
what's
you not
going
making
on?
your calls?
Mm-hmm.
Well, no, I'm busy.
Yeah.
Right. Well, you're not going to be busy forever if you don't do it.
Yeah.
So I think a coach is really important. And then that's also going to just kind of layer on top of that. So, we are able to provide coaching to our agents. You provide coaching to the tenants and the property owners and all of that, because, when in our profession, we're not just, real estate, we are coaching them. And I think it's important to have that person. And we're lucky to be able to team up with the people that we have to be able to provide that for everybody.
Well, and I know that's your heart and what you really enjoy doing is pouring back into agents and helping them achieve their goals. And that,
Well, it's really fun to watch.
well,
it's really cool.
The growth and evolution of people is awesome.
Yeah.
Well, that's all the time we have for today. Thank you guys so much.
Thanks.
Haley, Colton, Property Power couple.
Yep, that's us.
That's us.
Yep, follow us on everything. Stay tuned, subscribe, all that, and we'll be back again.
See ya.